It is about that time once again, folks. With the launch of Madden 20, I figure now is as good a time as any to get right into the franchise mode, and this time around I'm going to be running with the New York Jets. Now, the Jets have a few really good foundational players that I really like, and of course I'll dive into that in just a moment, but the main reason I picked them for this year's franchise is that they only won 4 games last season, and on top of that I can't really remember a time when they were relevant besides their early Rex Ryan years, so it's been at least a decade since the Jets were a decent football team, so we're going to try to see if we can get that turned around. Also, I'm only giving myself 2 seasons to complete the rebuild as a GM. I know NFL coaches and GMs don't get that long a leash. Generally, if they don't perform, they gotta go. So I might as well put those same expectations on myself. So again, I'm only giving myself 2 years to get this done. But if things are going well and I'm making a serious push in the division or in the playoffs, I may just extend it a year or 2. We'll see how it goes. Taking a look at the franchise settings, things are pretty much business as usual, running on all Madden Sim. I thought about disabling superstar ability, but I had such a good time with it during the beta, so I decided to keep it on. I really think it adds a new dynamic to the game that's much needed in my opinion, so hopefully that holds true for this franchise. But now we get to take our very first look at this Jets roster, and keep in mind I am recording this before the official launch day patch and well before the official league rosters are announced, so depending on when you're watching this, the Jets roster could look very different in a few spots, but it really won't matter that much because I do plan on overhauling the roster in our first offseason. But anyways, here's the first look at our offense that we're going to start the season with, and man, I am not impressed at all. Honestly, you guys, I don't know what Le'Veon Bell saw in this team that made him sign there. I know he was chasing the bag and all, but I see a lot of mediocre to subpar talent on this offense. Starting with the offensive line, check out my left tackle, center, and right tackle positions. Kelvin Beachum, Jonathan Harrison, and Brandon Shell, let's just face it, they aren't good enough to be starters on the offensive line. And I've got a feeling I might have to address those positions pretty early on in the season, but for now, that's what we've got, so we're going to roll with it. On to my tight end position, Chris Herndon is currently serving a 4-game suspension. Normally I'd apply that to the franchise, but we're currently outgunned as is, and I don't think it'll make that much of a difference anyway, so I'm gonna act as if he is available to play. For my wide receivers, I feel like Robbie Anderson and Jamison Crowder are going to be my go-to guys, and also Quincy Williams. He's a capable receiver. He's just been pretty inconsistent over the years, but either way, I can still see myself being in the market for at least one playmaking wide receiver moving forward. And last but not least, because everybody already knows what Le'Veon Bell is about, let's talk about Sam Darnold. For the record, I am not a Sam Darnold guy, but I am going to give him the longest leash out of anyone on the roster because he is only going into year 2, and he was drafted into a really bad situation. So what I like to do is get all the pieces around him solidified, and then let's see what he can do then. So to all of you guys in the comment section that might want me to take a quarterback early on in the series, just know that it might be a little while before that happens because I really want to give Darnold a chance to develop. Moving over to the defense now so we can wrap up this overview segment. What surprised me the most is how much talent there is in this group already. The weakest positions on the side are obviously linebacker, but not by much. And besides, nickel packages have become the new base defense anyway, so barring some unforeseen injury, CJ Mosley and Avery Williamson will both be on the field together for at least 80% of the defensive snaps. And if we can get anything out of rookie Ja'Kai Polite out of Florida, this linebacker group could be interesting to watch. But I'm not really holding my breath on that one, you guys. It was just something I thought it was worth mentioning. Speaking of which, when did Tremaine Johnson and Brian Poole sign with the Jets? Those are pretty decent pickups. Brian Poole held down the nickel corner spot for my Falcons for, 2 to 3 seasons? And he did a solid job while he was there. I think he struggled a bit in his last season, but overall he did a good job. I don't know that I like him playing outside though. That might be something to experiment with early on, but I'll likely put him back at nickel. Scratch that, it looks like he's already there, so that makes more sense to me. But anyways, as you guys are looking at the specialist lineup, I've just got some quick thoughts on defense before we move on. I like the defense in general, but if I had to upgrade a position or two, I'd have to upgrade the corner position and possibly a 3-4 outside linebacker that can rush the passer. Like you guys saw earlier in the video, I have way more needs on offense than I do on defense, so year 1 will probably be spent trying to address the offense and fixing that first, and then I'll come back to the defense, but I think with just some development the first year, the defense will be just fine. So now I want to take a quick look at the guys that I expect to have a huge impact for me in the first season, starting with none other than Le'Veon Bell. After sitting out a year of football, you guys can take a look at his core attributes. This man is still a monster out there and a problem to be dealt with. He's the number 3 back in the league based on his overall rating at 92. But the way that my offense is currently constructed, there's no reason for him not to get 30 plus combined touches a game, easily. But you guys have already seen and heard my concerns about the offensive line, so I may have to use a little creativity with getting him the ball, so expect to see him targeted in the passing game pretty often, you guys. And another player that should expect to see a lot of targets in the passing game is Robbie Anderson. I mean, this dude can absolutely fly. I mean, I won't lie to you guys, I completely slept on his overall rating at 82, but looking at his core attributes, I mean, check that out. That 94 speed, 90 acceleration, 86 deep route, and 88 spec catch. It really seems that he's a big play waiting to happen. I can't wait to see him lined up against somebody in man coverage, because if he gets a clean release, it's going to be bombs away all day. And this is the guy that's going to have to get it to him, Sam Darnell. The fate of the franchise is literally in his hands. We need him to take a huge leap from year 1 to year 2. And I feel like a lot of plays will need to be made outside the scheme of the offense, if that makes sense. Again, going back to my concerns about the offensive line, I can't help but imagine scenarios where plays are constantly breaking down and Darnold's going to have to make plays on the fly. Fortunately, he's got that 86 throw on the run attribute that should help out a lot in those scenarios. But regardless, I'm going to stay patient with him and give him time to develop, and hopefully he proves to us that he deserves to be the guy. Now, this man right here, Quinton Williams, I'll tell you like this, if he doesn't have any type of superstar X-Factor ability once we unlock it after 500 plays, I'll probably quit franchise and start posting MUT videos or something. I don't know. This guy is an absolute beast. He's already in the top 10 of D tackles as a rookie. Just let that sink in for a moment. He hasn't even played an NFL down yet, and he's already in the top 9%, that is. That's just crazy. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do on the field. And last but not least, we got Jamal Adams. 90 overall, he's great at playing the run, he's great in zone coverage, and at this point the question really becomes, what can't he do? And the crazy thing about it is he's only been in the league for 2 years, and he's already a superstar. He literally walked into the league like, yeah, I'm here. That's almost unheard of. Guys usually take 3-4 seasons to develop, but not him. I'm really excited to see what type of impact he's going to have in our secondary. It should be a lot of fun, you guys. Now, the format for the series is going to be just as it's always been. Each week, each game gets its dedicated video. And just a quick reminder, like I said earlier in this video, I am only giving myself 2 seasons to complete the rebuild, meaning that if we're not at least competing for the division or the playoffs by the end of season 2, then essentially I'm fired, the same way a real NFL head coach or GM would be. And at that point, I'll probably just start a new franchise with a different team or something like that. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. The last thing I've got for you guys is pretty important, but I'll try to make it quick so I can get you out of here. The franchise series will continue as long as you guys are supporting it, which means smacking the like button, dropping comments, and also sharing the video. All that stuff really helps the video gain exposure, and most of all, it lets the creator know that you really appreciate the work that goes into each video. That's one. My second and final caveat is the notorious EA patches. If EA drops a patch that destroys the Madden 20 gameplay the same way it did Madden 19, unfortunately the series won't continue. I just can't create content for a game that I don't enjoy, and that's what happened with me in Madden 19. Anyways, you guys, I appreciate you for understanding and for also taking the time to check out this video. Please stay tuned for week number 1, should be coming up pretty soon. And also like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm signing off, and I'll see you in the next one.